Hello and welcome to the Addiction Recovery Revolution. I'm Abby Nelson, your host, for joining me from my prayer swing. And I am pleased to invite on the show Michael Gabatoni, also known as Gambo. And he's blowing up the internet. Everyone knows him. Everyone's a fan of your style. And I'm so happy that you're joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so Michael, what brought up, see, he's always moving. This is part of his thing too. He's always moving. And I know the first time I watched him, I was like, I think that was the part that appealed the most to me about you, is that there's tons of people that are on the internet that are talking. I talk on the internet. But there's something about you that's just energy that you're always moving.
Yeah, I think I have ADD really bad or something, because I can never stand still. If I sit down, I have to bounce my leg. If I'm or play with something like a pen or some tap on the desk. Like, I used to drive my teachers crazy when I was in school.
So I always like to kind of start out, just because everyone resonates with the story and how you got started with what you do, which is special just because you have your own wonderful recovery story and your inspiration behind what you're doing today. So do you want to share that with us?
Sure. You know, I just come from, where I'm from is Wilmington, Delaware. You know, I was there for most of my life, and you know, same stories everybody else. Good kid, went to school, got good grades, athlete, the whole nine. My teenage years, you know, I just kind of something just switched in me. I don't know what it was. I really didn't like go down the drug path, but I just started to feel like disconnected from everybody and felt like I was out of place, and you know, really felt like I was missing something, you know. And my senior year, I started to selling drugs, and that was kind of like my introduction to the drug world. It really wasn't using it. It was kind of more like distribution stuff. And you know, it gave me that sense of power and the money, and people looked up to me, and it made me feel, you know, good about myself. It gave me that self-esteem I was always missing. And, you know, so long story short, I dropped out of high school, said I was going to be a career drug dealer, which was not the best career path to take. And, you know,
I don't think that's what your parents had in mind for you.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like, I used to come home, like, I was, you know, I'm a hip hop guy, and I used to come home to with boxes of shoes and like the fitted hats with the matching jerseys and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and my parents were always like, "Where do you get all this money?" Because I had a job. I just, you know, I was only making like $300 a week. Oh, I'm good at saving, you know. That's always told them. Like, they didn't know, like, the jerseys were like $400 or $500 a piece. You know, the shoes were like 150, and I had like 4 of them a week. So, but yeah, I mean, that was my thing. So I went down that path, and you know, around my area, about 2005, you know, I was a year out of high school. And that's when the pills really hit. You know, the painkillers just all of a sudden were everywhere. You know, everyone was on painkillers. And, you know, being the entrepreneur I thought I was, you know, I said, hey, you know, I'm going to grab some of these and start selling pills. As I started to hang around with these people that I was, you know, selling to, I smoked weed and I drank, and, you know, it was never an issue for me. And I said, hey, I'm going to try one of these things. You know, and when I tried it, it gave me that sense that I always wanted. And, you know, it just snowballed from there. It turned into, you know, from dealing them to being my best customer, and, you know, strung out, you know, been to jail a few times for selling drugs and doing things to get money and things like that. You know, and it just drove me down this path of just worthlessness, you know, no self-worth, just every day waking up, and I just wanted to get high, and that was all my life revolved around. You know, and that lasted for about 7 years, you know, till I was 26. And by the time I finally decided to get clean, I would say I've been to detox probably over 30 times. I went to jail 3 times. I was on probation for 6 years. I was homeless. You know, I lived in the streets for 2 years. My parents, I'm not going to say disowned me, but they put their foot down. You know, they said, we love you, but you can't come here if you're doing the things that you're doing. You know, treatment wasn't working. I was on Suboxone maintenance for a little bit, and that didn't work. I just, you know, took what I needed to not get sick and sold the rest, and then, you know, used the money to get high. I was on methadone 3 or 4 times. That didn't work. I just, you know, I would take other things with the methadone to get just as messed up as the pills and the dope. And, you know, it was just like anybody else, you know, like jails, institutions, and death. And, you know, I didn't die in the physical sense, but inside, yeah, I was dead. And, you know, I finally decided to get clean. And I went from, I got the opportunity to come down to Florida. My little brother was down here. He is about a year more clean than me. And so he was managing a halfway house and just said, hey, like, you know, just come down and we'll figure something out. And I walked off the methadone clinic, which was one of the hardest things I ever had to do as far as just the withdrawal. And I jumped on a plane. I came down here. I got down here and when I up there, he was like, just come down. We'll figure it. Like, you're going to have somewhere to go. I get down. There's nowhere for me to go. No treatment centers would scholarship me. The owner of the halfway house that he was at was like, look, I'll let you crash here on the couch for a week. Luckily, another halfway house was like, look, we'll take you in. You know, we'll figure it out. You know, we'll have you do chores and stuff until you can get a job. And that's what I did. You know, I sweated out. I was sick for about a month from the methadone withdrawal and, you know, the benzos I was taking with it. And, you know, I just hit the ground running. I just never looked back. I really wanted to change. There was a lot of times where I was just tired of the accountability and I was tired of the consequences. You know, that every time I tried to get clean, it was because I didn't want to feel the consequences anymore. But I really wasn't tired of living the way I was living. It's just, I didn't want to be dope sick anymore. I didn't want to go to jail anymore. I didn't want to be on probation, but there was never like, I really want to change, you know? And when I decided to come down here, like, I promised myself that I was leaving the old me at the Philadelphia airport, you know, and I was going to come down here.
What inspired you to start becoming such an activist? I mean, before you spoke about that, you actually, you know, I mean, now you're just such an activist. You're out there, you're in schools, you're everywhere.
You know, the main thing for me is like, I'm a real big, I'm just like, I know what kind of person I used to be. And, you know, a lot of people wrote me off. And I just feel like, you know, I kind of try to speak for the underdogs. I feel like everybody, you there? I think I'm up.
Yeah.
I'm up. Okay. I feel like, you know, a lot of people, there's a huge part of society that people just write off and don't care about, you know, whether they're poor or, you know, it could be a racial barrier, it could be economic barrier, it could be addicts, mental health. I mean, there's all types of people that I speak to and work with outside of addiction. My main thing is that, like, God blessed me and put me in this position and gave me a voice and gave me a platform to reach people. And I really enjoy helping other people. And whether it's addiction or whether it's, I've helped ex-gang members, you know, get jobs and leave the streets alone, and drug dealers. I've helped homeless people that have no addiction issues, you know, get back on their feet.
So how do you stay
like
healthy yourself? I mean, is your advocate work part of what you stay healthy with? But I mean, what else keeps you healthy?
I mean, I do, you know, I work a program. You know, I work a program. I do sponsorship with people. You know, I'm still active in meetings and things like that. You know, for the most part, I would say the biggest platform for me, though, is my my faith. You know, my faith is really something that really brings it up. I'm one of those people that really found God when I got clean, like a real sense of God. And that connection is more important than anything to me, because I don't know what it is, but that's the driving force that keeps me going is I was once told, like, you start to see change when instead of asking God what he can do for you, you start asking God what you can do for him. And that's kind of like my outlook on things, is like I just try to do what I think that he would want me to do on a daily basis.
I think that's the thing
You know,
that I love the most about you, Mike. When I see your posts on the internet, you're so passionate, and you're an advocate in a lot of different ways. First of all, you don't hesitate to say what you think, which is
yeah.
good. You know, but you can honestly feel the energy of what you're trying to do, is that you're coming from a place where you've been, where a lot of people are right now. And I think that's part of why all of us kind of speak out. We're on this other side, is that we know what it feels like to be where they are. And, you know, whether or not it's someone, I always say, you know, the internet's one aspect of reaching out. It's not the only, because you need interaction with people. You know, in the forums and it's huge, because when you get that daily doctrine every single day, and daily kind of dose that the other people are doing it kind of inspires you. And I think you inspire a lot of people that way. That's, you know, part of it. But I mean, I saw, like, you're in schools. You just finished doing a rap video, because you still are really involved with your music, right?
Yeah. So I'm also, you know, Gambo is the rapper name. You know, so I just got signed to Recovering Artists Worldwide, which is like a recovery record label.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so, you know, we just went on tour, just got off tour, probably going on another tour this summer. You know, I also own an entertainment company called Hood Hippie Entertainment, which is, it's definitely not recovery based. I'll tell you that much. You know, the guys that I manage and everything, I mean, they're normal people. You know, they're not addicts or anything, but a lot of them come from, you know, areas, you know, basically, long story short, how that formed is me and a buddy of mine I grew up with, who wanted to, you know, start something musically. And we found all these great artists from our hometown. And I was blessed enough to be in a position financially where I could open a recording studio. So that's actually where I'm at now, is outside of the recording studio. So I got this house. I put a recording studio in there, and I reached out to these guys that were really talented. I saw a lot of, you know, a lot of potential in them. And I told them, look, I'll get you down here. You can have a place to live for free. You know, you'll have a studio in your house, and all you have to promise me is that, you know, you stop selling drugs, you stop doing the, you know, the shady stuff, and take some advice, and we'll really start to build your future. And, you know, one of the guys is an engineer, and, you know, he's making good money now here at the studio. He just moved his family down and got his own apartment.
Wow.
One of the other guys, you know, had a little bit trouble finding a job, and now he just got like 3-4 promotions in the last 9 months, and, you know, is now like an assistant manager. You know, it's just like cool, because like I was saying, like, even when people aren't addicts and things like that, there's always room for growth. And that's really, really what I love. And that's what I have passion for, is just helping people, taking what I learned in a program and applying it to every area of life, just like it says, you know?
Okay, well, Michael, I always give people an opportunity, because you already have a fan base, and on the internet, I mean, people always want to know, you know, your story, your inspiration. That's where I come in, because we see you all the time. But, you know, obviously people can find you online. So give everyone the synopsis as to how they can find what you do, where you're located,
Okay.
all that stuff.
So you can find me on Facebook at, just type in Gambo, Gambo. You'll see a picture of my ugly face, and just click it, follow.
You're adorable. You know you are.
you know, you can also follow the treatment center I'm involved with, which is Sound Path Recovery, which is a music treatment center. It's specifically built for musicians, in-house studio. You know, we give real therapy, but we also give them an environment to really thrive as an artist and express themselves, which is huge for any kind of artistic person that's trying to get sober. They need that. You know, so you can follow me on those two things. You send me a personal friend request, Mike Gambo, Mikegambo. You know, if you want to connect with me and ask questions, and you know, SoundCloud Gambo 302. Just type in Gambo and just follow me.
Yeah,
and,
Gambo's
you know,
all over the internet. So for all you people that haven't heard of him, you're the rare one, because Gambo's all over the place. And matter of fact, when I mentioned it to the people that are in Addiction Recovery Revolution, I had several people say, oh, I just love him. I follow him all the time. I love everything about what he has to say. So we're going to continue following you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to do the interview with Addiction Recovery Revolution. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.